Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace and blessing and grace to everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Thumma salatu wa salamu ala Rasulil Kareem wa ala alihi al-tayyibin al-tahirin wa sahbihi al-muntajabin. I'd like to thank you, brothers and sisters, to join us on this day of live fundraising. We are here at the Islamic House of Wisdom, and we are talking about this occasion. You know, House of Wisdom used to have 2 dinners during the year, one in the spring and one in fall, but we had to cancel both dinners this year. We are going through this sad situation. It was a surprise, a sad surprise for 2020, that we are still going through this very frightening, very scary stage of this pandemic. Just heard that so far almost 12 million people just in this country are infected by coronavirus, and almost 260,000 deaths. Is just unbelievable. I like to thank the doctors, the nurses, the medical society, that they are helping the patients in the hospitals and nursing homes, anywhere they are. Really, that is a time of test and sacrifice and service and sympathy with people who are suffering. And I know that we lost some doctors, some nurses in this country and many other countries all over the world. And we consider them also as shuhada. If someone served fi sabilillah, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of saving lives, and in this jihad, in this struggle, somebody lost his life and her life. If that happened with that good intention of helping ibadullah, helping the servants of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is really jihad, that is a sacrifice, that is a martyrdom. And those who are continuing their struggle, they receive reward from our Creator, the Lord of the world, the Lord of love, the Lord of life. So it is a scary time. It is painful. It is frustrating. And we are here in the mosque to help everyone, to provide prayer, to provide hope, to provide healing for hearts. Because when we talk about Dar al-Hikmah, it's a house of wisdom. It is also Dar al-Ibadah, Dar al-Salat, it's a house of prayer. Dar al-Ilm, house of education. And we never stopped, despite of challenges of this year, during this virus, we never stopped our educational outreach, whether virtual or anytime we were able to do it in person, being Salat al-Jum'ah, being the classes, Girl Scouts, youth program. So we cannot stop education, we cannot stop prayer, we cannot stop serving our community. So it's Dar al-Hikmah, it's Dar al-Ilm, Dar al-Amal, that also is an action. We have to show the mercy of Allah, the mercy of our Lord in our action. Make our center a city center, and Dar al-Rahmah, Dar al-Bir, Dar al-Ikhlas, Dar al-Ihsan, Dar al-Infaq, a house, a place of charity, a place of ta'awanu bil-birr wa taqwa, promoting outreach, promoting cooperation, understanding, helping one another, calling for unity. فاستبقوا بالخيرات أينما تكونوا. No matter where you are, be part of this competition for compassion, competition for kindness, competition for caring for community, caring for country, caring for humanity. So this is what Dar al-Hikmah is about. Dar al-Ta'awun, Dar al-Musabiqa lil-Khairat. That Allah is telling us that أنفقوا بالليل والنهار. Doesn't matter, day or night. Make sure that you are a source of service and available for those who need your help, your healing, your prayer, your action. أنفقوا بالسراء والضراء. Be generous during the time of prosperity and also time of difficulty, testing time that we are going through. Now is ad-darra, but doesn't matter. The time of pleasure or time of pain, we are there to be masdar al-khayr wal-barakah. And barakah is to serve. Mubarakan means to be useful for the community. أنفقوا بالليل والنهار بالسراء والضراء. And also سرا وعلانية. Whether you help publicly or privately, in any way that you can help. There is a hadith from Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam that طلبت الجنة فوجدتها في الصدقة والسخاء. I was looking for paradise, how to get to heaven, and I found that sadaqah, charity, and sakha, generosity, is one of the main highway to heaven. Because when we do prayer, we are communicating with our Creator. But through al-infaq, al-ihsan, al-bir, al-musabagha fil khayrat, through charity, you are connecting with humanity. So when the Quran said, "In tansurullahi yansurkum," if you help God, He would help you. God doesn't need our help in like a personal way, but to help one another, to help humanity, that's what He wants. There is a hadith from the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, that he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا أَحَبَّ عَبْدًا اسْتَعْمَلَهُ. When God loves His servant, He would use that servant. قِيلَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ كَيْفَ يَسْتَعْمِلُهُ. What do you mean that God is using an abd, a servant of Him? He answered, أن يوفقه بالعمل الصالح قبل الموت. العمل الصالح. He is using us, through blessing us, to be a person of action and to be useful for the humanity. This is the way that God would use some person. So this is really a rewarding thing, that today we are here and we are asking for support, but this is not support for us as individuals, but support for this دار الحكمة, دار العلم, دار العمل, دار الرحمة, دار السلام, دار العدل, دار الحرية, دار التقوى, دار التعاون, دار الإخلاص, دار الإخلاص, دار الإحسان, دار الإنفاق. With all these terms that represent love, grace, charity, help, hope, healing, prayer, and action for everyone. As I said, we never stopped our activities. Of course, we have to be very critical that this is a scary situation. We have to observe mask and social distance, because this is not only something legal, not just because the governor of our state said it, but because even the Quran says, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بَأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Make sure that you are not destroying yourself by your own hand. And the Prophet said, لَا دَرَرَ وَلَا دِرَارَ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ. You cannot be harmful to someone else. It's haram. So if somebody is suffering from this virus, should isolate himself and herself and stay away from the gathering. And this has been done and practiced at the Islamic House of Wisdom, that even in our Friday prayer, everybody is wearing masks, stays far from one another, and make sure that the cleanliness and the dafat min al-iman, not only washing our hand, but making wudu and being prepared for prayer, for practice, for serving God, for serving humanity, and following the example of our Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, وَيَطْعُمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. We have here at the House of Wisdom every Friday thousands of people. They receive food. We just had free flu shot. These kind of services that they are needed, especially during this time. And we had to deal with this virus that it is killing so many people in the world. And at the same time, as Dar al-Hikmah, as a house of wisdom, house of knowledge, house of education, and house of spiritual healing, we have to deal also with spiritual viruses. So much depression, so much personal problem, family problems, moral issues. The moral microbes are not less dangerous than this pandemic. Still we have to deal with racism, with hatred, with Islamophobia, with division, with all this propaganda that's going on, dealing with arrogance, with dishonesty, bringing a right message for our youth, for our children, make sure that we raise them with values. So that is why House of Wisdom is open. We continued our services to people who are working in the House of Wisdom. I know that maybe some of the employees, they didn't come to the work and, took advantage of unemployment and getting service from the government. But for everybody else who continued the service, continued to work, we honored our obligation and payment and expenses of whether the salary for those who work or the utility and things related to the center, the maintenance, and lots of expenses that related to our services and to the building and to the school. We have to continue that. For that reason, this is time to ask for your help. And I know that some people are suffering, and we are asking people who are able. Those who are not able, they are the ones who are supposed to receive our support, and that's what we are doing. We are doing anything we can to support with material, with education, with psychological support, with any support system. We are available to do that. But since we don't have dinner, there is no ticket, there's no gathering in the name of dinner, you have this opportunity to help us today. You can call Islamic House of Wisdom 313-359-1221. You can go on Facebook. You can come directly now to the House of Wisdom. We are open. You can come and drop your donation. You can contribute online. You can contribute directly by check, by credit card, any way that is possible for you. So we are asking you just for this week of contribution and support for House of Wisdom. But this House of Wisdom has been there for the last 25 years. 25 years of education, 25 years of dialogue, 25 years of interfaith, 25 years of standing for freedom, for justice, for democracy, for truth. 25 years of standing against Islamophobia, against propaganda, against ignorance, against hatred. 25 years of sincere services of people at this Islamic House of Wisdom, Dar al-Hikmah, Dar al-Ilm, Dar al-Amal, Dar al-Mahabba, Dar al-Ukhuwa, Dar al-Wahda. So we try to do our share and our part, and today is your turn, whether you are interested to support the food services, support the educational services, support the outreach. That's a big part of services of House of Wisdom, that outreach to bring understanding, to build bridges of knowing one another, because we know that the ignorance is one of the root reasons of Islamophobia, of hatred, all this prejudice, the pandemic of prejudice. Poverty is not only poverty in food and money, but poverty in education, poverty in intellect, poverty in information, poverty in right communication. So we try to do our best. This is the mission of Islamic House of Wisdom. Those 6 words: faith, education, outreach, action, love. These are really important. These words matters. That we never get lazy, never give up in our mission, in our vision. Continue to serve our community, serve our faith, and be active in our dialogue and discussion and communication and conversation with other communities, with other faith traditions, to make sure that we provide a good image of our faith. So again, طلبت الجنة فوجدتها في الصدقة والسخاء. Charity is a channel to heaven. And this concept of ihsan, إن الله يحب المحسنين. You want to check if the Lord loves you? Check your ihsan, check your infaq, check your charity, check your care for humanity. Yes, how generous you are, that is how much God loves you. So we are going through this testing, struggling, challenging, frightening, painful time. And Islamic House of Wisdom doing its best to serve everyone, but at the same time, you know that House of Wisdom source of support is our community. We need your support. May Allah bless you. May Allah keep you safe from the suffering of this coronavirus. May Allah keep you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Save you from the danger of this disease. We pray for all of you. So really, when it comes to our health, then the entire world means nothing. If you are able to support, please take this opportunity today. Call the Islamic House of Wisdom now, 313-359-1221, or if you like to stop by here, the House of Wisdom is open. We are welcoming you to come and to drop your donation, or get the information online as you are watching us on Facebook. Follow the information and do it online in any way that you can. We pray for you, for your safety, for your security, for your health, for your family. May Allah protect all of us. May Allah protect our community, our society, our country, and our humanity. We feel so bad that no matter how much is hard for us here in this country, but may God bless and serve and help those people who are in poor countries now. They are suffering in Yemen, in Gaza, in Afghanistan, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Syria, in Iran, in Africa, in Asian countries. There are so much is going on. War and violence and destruction and lack of food, lack of medicine, lack of service, lack of sovereignty, and people just suffer and suffer and suffer. We pray for all of them. And if any of us have access to help those people who are suffering overseas, and their life depends on little help from here and there, that is our duty to help everyone. So take this opportunity, help the house of God, and when you help God's house, God would help you both in this world and what is even more important, with Ajrun Adim, with his great reward in your eternal life, that في جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. May Allah bless you. I know that we have Dr. Mahdi is here, and Brother Ihsan is here, and I see Brother David Zain is here, and there are some other board members. I see Sister Zainab, I see Haji Jennifer. There are some board members around us today. They are here to talk with you. They are here to welcome you and welcome your support. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Take care.
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Imam Ilahi, for introducing this fundraising program wherever it may find you. I know that life has been a little strange for about almost a year now. Coronavirus had its first birthday not too long ago. Wherever you may find yourself listening to this program, I hope you're enjoying your virtual meal as you tune in and in a very casual setting. Just relax and listen as we highlight what we've been doing over this past year, and as Imam Ilahi said, over the course of 25 years since the establishment of the Islamic House of Wisdom. An important point that Imam mentioned that I kind of want to expand upon just for a brief moment is service while we're still living and breathing. He said service qabla maut, service before death. One of the companions of the Holy Prophet, before he passed away, while he was living, he owned a warehouse that sold dates. See these dates that you may break your fast with or eat along with a cup of tea? He owned a warehouse of dates. And he made a pledge to the Holy Prophet and said that when I die, I would like to donate this whole warehouse and spread all the dates to the people of the community. And sure enough, this companion passed away not too long after. And the companions of the Holy Prophet all came together and they began to distribute all these dates to the community. After some time passed, the companions came to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said, "O Prophet, we have distributed all of the dates that were inside of this man's warehouse." The Holy Prophet walks into the warehouse and he notices that there's one date left on the ground. He approaches it and he grabs it and he notices that it's rotten. And he turns around to his companions and says, if this person donated this rotten date that couldn't even be eaten while he was alive, he would have received more reward than donating this whole warehouse of dates after his death. Allah tries to reconstruct our thinking. In the Holy Quran, He says, أَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. O you who believe, give from what we have given you. رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. Allah doesn't say give from what you have. Allah says give from what we have provided to you. This money that you and I accumulate throughout our lives, this money that we may earn, the assets that we have, this is an amana that Allah has given to us. The profits that we make, the money that we own, this isn't something that belongs to you and I. That's why Allah says give from what we have given you. Don't think like other personalities in the Holy Quran, that when they came and they asked Qarun, they said, oh Qarun, how did you amass all this wealth? How did you gather all this money and gold and honor and prestige? See, in their eyes, they considered him to be an honorable individual because of the position that he had, being the right hand of the Pharaoh. They asked him, how did you have such a strong gathering? How do you have an army of people? He says, إِنَّمَا أُتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. He says, you see everything that I have, it's because of the knowledge that I own. It's because of the knowledge that I have. And right then and there, the earth opens up and swallows him. You see, Allah is teaching us that when we think about the things that we have, they don't belong to ourselves. The things that Allah has provided us are tools that we can use to not only serve ourselves and our families, but more importantly, our community and our fellow brothers and sisters. I want to spend the remainder of our time together highlighting important services that the Islamic House of Wisdom has provided. When I reflect upon the past year, anybody who comes to the Islamic House of Wisdom on Friday, not only do they get to enjoy the khutbah and be a part of the Jama'ah prayer, but one thing that they realize is that about a couple hours before the prayer even commences, there are already cars lined up from the door of the masjid all the way around the parking lot onto the street of Ann Arbor Trail. You see, there are cars parked every single Friday. Thousands of people on a weekly basis come to the Islamic House of Wisdom and they're provided with food, not only for themselves, not only for their loved ones, but for their neighbors as well. When I think about the Islamic House of Wisdom, the approach that we have taken is how can we address the mind, body, and spirit of the people of our community and abroad. When I think about the body, where we serve over thousands of people every single Friday, people who don't necessarily have to come with a passport or prove that they're Muslim. In fact, we service just as many non-Muslims as we do as Muslims on our food drives every single Friday. This is a lesson that when we think about Imam al-Hussein, Muharram and Safar, they weren't too long ago. When Imam al-Hussein says, Hal min nasirin yansurna, who is there to help me? He's asking us a very important question. He's saying, which of my followers incorporate and walk and talk my principles of service on a daily basis? not just with my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, but with my non-Muslim brothers and sisters. Every single Friday, people come, hundreds and thousands of people come, and they're able to take food for their loved ones. That's number one. As you may have heard from Imam Ilahi, another aspect of the body is the physical well-being. I know that amidst this virus, our mind is just paying attention to the coronavirus, but our body is prone to many other diseases and disease states. They can be infected by different bacterial or viral infections, one being the flu. And just this past Friday, we provided free immunizations, free flu shots. Doesn't matter if you had insurance. It doesn't matter whether you had money or not. That didn't matter. If you came to the mosque and you didn't receive your flu shot, you didn't need an appointment, you didn't need to see a doctor, you received your flu shot by a certified immunizer for free. No appointment, no insurance. So when we think about the services that the mosque provides, the body and the physical well-being is at the top of our list. Many people come to the mosque, and although we have so many other services in terms of education, although we have so many other services in terms of prayer and dua on a weekly basis, they're just looking for the basic necessities to live. They're looking for their basic needs. And we don't ask them questions, well, have you came to Friday prayer? Are you a part of Dua Kumail? Have you supported the mosque? No. You need help. You're in need. You need your tank of gas to be filled. You need food for your children. You need diapers for your babies. It didn't matter. You see, we think about the pharmacy as being a 24-hour service. We think about pharmacists as the most accessible healthcare providers. But the mosque is the most accessible place for not just your medicinal needs, but for your bodily, your mental, and your physical needs as well, as a whole. That people come and they need help, and they're in need of money, they're in need of food. It doesn't matter what your race is, what color, what country you come from. The mosque's hands are always open and always eager to help and serve. To expand more upon the physical well-beings, the mosque throughout the year has placed heavy emphasis on mental well-being. Especially when you think about the coronavirus now, many of our children, many of the youth of our community, they don't have that human interaction that they once did. That human interaction is necessary for the growth of our youth. Many children, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, go through some form of depression, go through some form of anxiety, especially in these circumstances where we are deprived from maybe going into the classroom setting, sitting down with our friends, eating with them, discussing certain things. Those are things that have been minimized drastically. And the mosque realized that. And as a result, they have, throughout the year, even before coronavirus, created workshops on mental health. Created workshops addressing certain taboo topics like suicide, like depression, like anxiety. And to even push that further, I want to transition from not only addressing the physical well-being, not only addressing the mental well-being, but transitioning that into the services that we have for the youth, and I want to begin with education. The Islamic House of Wisdom, despite the current circumstances, has offered educational services in person and through Zoom and virtually. Because we, unfortunately, are being tackled with this ideology, with this concept, and I hear it very often, that Islam is just a religion. When we think of Islam, many times, we think of it as a religion that we just subscribe to. I identify myself as a Muslim because I subscribe to the Islamic belief. What we need to realize and what we need to implement and what we continue to do at the Islamic House of Wisdom is try to make our youth understand that Islam is not just a religion that you subscribe to. Islam is not just something that you follow. Islam is a lifestyle that you have embedded in you. That when you wake up every morning and you go to sleep every night, every single action that you do, everything that you approach, any opportunity that you may come across, there's an answer, there's an etiquette, there is a mentality and a way to approach those things from an Islamic perspective. Islam is not just something that you subscribe to. Islam is the way that we live our life. And we keep that in mind. And we understand that maybe people aren't trained to think that way. People just focus on, well, what is permissible to do and what is not permissible to do. And that's just as far as this religion goes. And I hear it very common from the youth in our community. That what is the halal and what is the haram. But at the Islamic House of Wisdom, what we try to do is try to educate our youth, myself included. To educate, to reconstruct the way that we think about our religion. To reconstruct the way that we think about our faith. And to further expand upon that, I'd like to ask Brother Ihsan to go through some of the youth programs that we have come and we have created over the course of the past year. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Ihsan, I am the treasurer of the Youth of Wisdom. Wanted to thank Mahdi for his presentation. And I'll be going over some of the programs that we have here at the Masjid through the Youth of Wisdom. So the Youth of Wisdom is a small group of youth here at the Islamic House of Wisdom. But although we are a small group, our growth and the amount of impact that we have on our community through these past COVID months has been truly tremendous. You know, starting with the nightly Ramadan programs we had over Zoom, something that not many other organizations had, going to our activities, our game nights online, to the daily and weekly food distributions that we've had, and the different community projects and programs that we've had. And keep in mind that each one of these programs, the brainstorming and the planning that goes into each one, it takes a lot of time and collaboration. For example, a class that might take 1 hour on Thursdays, for example, a game night that takes 1 hour before the Dua Kumail will sometimes take up to 3 hours of preparing and planning. And during the Ashura program at the Masjid, we had nightly arts and crafts with the youth and lessons from Karbala, morals that we can learn from each of the figures present in Karbala. And we had originally planned for 3 bonfires, but the amount of support and the amount of feedback was so tremendous, it was so overwhelming that we decided to double it, and we actually made 6 nights of presentation with great support and great turnout. When school started, we felt the need to help the parents with this new transition to online schooling. There's no interactions going on. Many times you can't understand what the teacher's teaching. And we created the learning pod where students would come with their homework, and any questions that they would have from their homework, we were there and would help them with it. We saw quarantine and we said, wait a second, quarantine? More like Quran time. You know, this social distancing that we've been practicing, we saw that many were distancing themselves from religion and the Quran. And because of that, we created many classes and courses to tackle this problem. We have many Quran crash courses throughout the months with prizes like AirPods, battery packs, things like that, where we would teach about the miracles mentioned in the Quran, the stories of our Ahlul Bayt in the Quran, and the various stories of the prophets that are mentioned in the Quran. We also have the Quran recitation lessons, where we start from the very beginning, learning the makharij of the huruf of the Arabic language, going into the tajweed, the rules of the Quran, and then jumping into reciting the Quran, where we plan and commit to finishing the whole Quran. And to fill our minds with the love of religion and the akhlaq of the Prophet, we have Saturday Islamic classes that incorporates lessons from the imams, from the prophets. We talk about our fiqh, we talk about how to pray, how to fast, and doing some history lessons, morals that we can learn from each of the ma'sumin. And we all have fun through competitions and different activities that we do. On Fridays we have the boys program, the youth nights, in which everyone participates in Jama'ah prayers, and we learn a story. We learn from the ma'sumin, each of the 14 ma'sumin. Every week we dedicate time into learning their history, something we can learn from them. And then we move to our physical activity and some team building activities, where the goal is to create bonds with the youth so they can live together and grow together. We've made many adjustments to keep the community safe and the kids healthy. So if anytime you come to the masjid, you look around, you have disinfecting wipes everywhere, hand sanitizer. We've enforced the mask wearing, social distancing in prayer, right? We have these pieces of paper set to make sure everyone is distanced while praying, checking temperatures of our students when they come in for our programs. And we've had very successful celebrations of the birthday of Nabi Muhammad and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. And we're getting ready for the birth of Lady Fatima, which is right around the corner, so stick around for that. And we're always looking for ideas, suggestions, helping hand during our programs and executing programs and activities. So if you can help us, please DM us at Youth of Wisdom. And I have to thank all the current and active members of the Youth of Wisdom for paving the way to where we are today. And let us know if you can serve the community and the masjid in any way. And we ask you to continue your presence and participation, whether it's in person, physically, or online, and support the great programs that are going on at the masjid. And I'd like to invite Brother Mahdi for his concluding words.
Thank you, Brother Ehsan. Just to kind of expand on what Brother Ehsan was saying, understand that, and I want to really place heavy focus on this, is that all the programs that we have, ever since we've been quote-unquote blessed with this coronavirus, has been under the guidelines that have been enforced by the state, meaning social distancing is enforced, face masks are required inside of the mosque. If you want to be a part of the programs, hand sanitizers there are different hand sanitizing stations around the mosque. Even when we conduct our Jama'ah prayer, we already have the carpet cleaned, and proper distancing is laid out for people who want to come and pray and participate in Jama'ah prayer as well. So that is a very important point, because health is key. Like I said, the body is one of the focuses that the Islamic House of Wisdom has in terms of servicing people's physical well-being as well. And unfortunately, as Imam mentioned, there are many frontline workers who have stepped up and really taken on an immense role. We have to really appreciate and realize the service that these healthcare providers, that the doctors and especially the nurses provide on a daily basis. At the end of the day, they have their own family, they have their own kids to come back home to. Many times, because of the sake of their family, they have to isolate themselves from their own children. So these are things that we have to really appreciate. And this virus isn't playing any games with us. I mean, just in the past week, we had 4 or 5 days in a row where there were over 100,000 cases of people being infected just in the United States. And it has claimed many individuals' lives. And despite of that, the Islamic House of Wisdom, keeping that in mind, realizes that many of our loved ones, especially even in our community, have lost their battle against this virus. And it can be very troubling when we think about, well, is our loved one, are they able to receive a proper burial? Will we be able to commemorate them in a way that we would like to? And the Islamic House of Wisdom, keeping that in mind, has actually provided funeral services, keeping these laws and regulations of the state in mind and enforcing them while we provide funeral services as well. To now transition into one of the major points that I mentioned is education. The youth of our community is our future. And it's not just simple to just memorize facts and memorize different Islamic lessons and walk out of the mosque and just start stating facts based off what we've memorized. Our goal is to fundamentally explain things. That way, when our children walk out of the masjid after being educated, they're able to think about things and reflect upon them and reach proper conclusions. And one of the main things that the Islamic House of Wisdom has been doing and continues to do is provide Islamic lessons. The Al-Hikmah Seminary is a service that the Islamic House of Wisdom continues to refine, continues to add upon. Anytime there's an interest shown by any of our community members in terms of a specific topic or a specific subject, we find the right guidance, we find the right professors and the right scholars to provide those courses. And to further elaborate on this, we have actually got into contact with scholars who are heavily invested in overseas in the house. I know many times people in our community want to know whether something is certified or not, or whether the information that they're receiving is coming from a reliable source. Well, the Islamic House of Wisdom has actually gotten into contact with scholars who are based in the Islamic seminaries in Qom in Iran, and we have coordinated with them and are providing courses on history, on Islamic beliefs, on Arabic, on the tafsir of the Quran. These are all classes and courses that the community, regardless of how old you are, because we're always, we can only, a lot of times we think that, we know enough in terms of our religion, or there isn't anything else that we need to add on in terms of our education. But these courses are open to people of all ages. In fact, the courses that we have had in the previous semesters, we have had people as young as 14 years old to people over 60 years old enrolled in these courses, participating in these courses. With the coronavirus in mind, these courses have now been transitioned to online live classes over Zoom. So we're constantly adapting, because regardless of what we're hit by, whether it's bacterial, whether it's viral, whatever the situation may be, the Islamic House of Wisdom has a duty. And that duty is to ensure that regardless of what environment or regardless of what circumstances we may find ourselves in, we need to continue to serve. We need to continue to educate. That is a very important mission of the Islamic House of Wisdom. On a weekly basis, Imam Ilahi gathers along with some board members, they gather and they conduct weekly podcasts with important leaders of our community, not just this community, leaders of other communities across the United States of America. They have came to the Islamic House of Wisdom, and there were discussions on not only Islamic Islamic principles, but even the history of our community. It's surprising that many things have happened in the past 25 years in the history of the Islamic House of Wisdom and the history of our community that many of us may not know or many of us have forgotten. But Imam Ali comes and he sits down with guests, with leaders, with long-standing members of our community, and they discuss the past, they discuss their vision for the future. This is something that has even reached out to the interfaith community. Islamic House of Wisdom is something that is, I believe, and I hope I'm not being biased in saying this, is at the forefront of interfaith. When we think about the message of Imam Hussein, when we think about the way that our Holy Prophet, Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he was a Khalifa, when we think about the way that they carried out their duties as being the head of the state, it wasn't just something that they took into consideration the Muslims of that community. In fact, the focus was on non-Muslims as well. How can we ensure that our actions and our words are we're not only conscious of them when it comes to our Muslim brothers and sisters, but our non-Muslim brothers and sisters as well. Especially with this election year, where there were so many different important topics to address: social injustices, social concepts, racism, that we need to make sure that we are united as a community. We're united at all four fronts. All faiths are united. The Islamic House of Wisdom, in these weekly podcasts, not even before coronavirus, many of you know, many of you are aware that we have always been at the forefront of interfaith, always been at the forefront of tackling social injustices, whether it be here at the Islamic House of Wisdom, our media presence, whether they come here or we go to them, it doesn't matter. Oppression is not something that is slept upon at the Islamic House of Wisdom by the leaders of the Islamic House of Wisdom. Our interfaith community is something that we have kept in touch with throughout this pandemic. It's very essential. When I think about the holy month of Ramadan, where it was the beginning stages of the coronavirus, it was kind of confusing. Can we have programs at the mosque? Can we not have programs at the mosque? We went ahead and we conducted Zoom presentations. We made sure to include our interfaith members, because it's not only what the Muslim perspective of things are, it's our non-Muslim perspectives that are just as vital and just as important, because we all come from the same source, we all come from the same parents.
Thank you, Dr. Mahdi. Thank you, Ihsan, and everyone. And thank you, brothers and sisters, to be in touch with us today during this fundraising. As I said, the doors of Islamic House of Wisdom are open, and we are welcoming you. We thank those of you who've been supporting the House of Wisdom during this service today, but we'll continue to receive your support and your contribution. May Allah bless you, may Allah protect you from this virus. May Allah protect our community. Thank you so much. You are great, you are generous, you are faithful, you are sincere. You've been supporting this faith foundation in the last 25 years, and only Allah can reward you and provide you with ajr wa thawab. Let me end this with a special prayer for you, for your family, for the country, for humanity. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم اكشف هذه الغمة عن هذه الأمة. اللهم اصرف عنا الوباء والبلاء والعناء. اللهم اشفنا شفاء تاما وعافنا في أبداننا وأخرجنا مما نحن فيه من الهم والحزن والكرب. يا من يقول للشيء كن فيكون، ارحم البلاد والعباد يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ارحمنا رحمة واسعة، وارزقنا عافية الأبدان ونور الأبصار يا كريم يا رحيم يا رب العرش العظيم. يا كاشف الكربات يا مجيب الدعوات يا غافر الزلات. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، وتابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات يا قاضي الحاجات يا أرحم الراحمين. Let us say Surah Al-Hamd for shifa, for healing of those 12 million people who are suffering from this coronavirus in this country, and tens of millions of other people, other nationalities, religions, cultures, races, languages, everywhere on this planet. Let us pray for all of them for healing, for shifa, for final cure, and for the end of this tragedy from this country and this world. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawm al-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Oh God, you are our hope. We lost our hope on many of those politicians and people of power and arrogance and denominations and domination. You are our hope. You are the source of peace, source of love, source of wisdom, source of care. We ask you, Allah, for cure, for healing. You are our hope. Please help us, and please save us, and please protect us against this painful pandemic, in this chaos and confusion, this crisis, this coronavirus. You are a hope, Ya Allah. Thank you, O Lord, and thank you, brothers and sisters. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Brothers and sisters, there's so many different ways that you can contribute today. We're here at the mosque. You can come on by. I know that we miss your faces, and hopefully you miss ours. You can come on by, drop your donation off. You can give us a phone call at 313-359-1221. Again, that's 313-359-1221. You can pay over the phone. You go on our website or our Facebook page at Islamic House of Wisdom and donate online as well. There's so many different ways that you can donate. You know, Iblis says that I visit people on 3 different occasions. Number 1, I visit them when they're angry, and I do that because I want to make them more angry. The second time I visit a person is when they're where they're in the presence of a non-mahram. I'm the 3rd person in the room. And the 3rd time I visit someone is right before they're going to give charity. And I want to highlight one important point, and that is almost donating is not the same thing as donating. Just because you almost donated doesn't mean that you donated. You know, it's very hard when we think about, oh, I want to support, I want to donate, and I put my hand in my pocket, and then the imam is done speaking or the program is done, and you say, oh, okay, you know what, the program is done, maybe next time. No, that's not going to work this time. The Islamic House of Wisdom is open today. Even if we're not open online, you know, everybody has phone, everybody has internet. Even if you don't have internet, there's so many different Wi-Fi services. We're not even going to get into that. There's internet, there's the way of the internet, there's the way of the phone. Please support your mosque so that we can continue these programs even after COVID-19. You know, they're talking about a vaccine. We don't care. Vaccine comes, vaccine doesn't come anytime soon. Our services will continue to move forward, enforcing the health and the state laws, inshallah. Even if you were busy today or you had family plans on this beautiful Sunday, the mosque is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can drop on by at any time and give your donation that way. Thank you. May Allah bless you and keep you and your loved ones safe, inshallah.
Real power is product of peace, not vice versa. O Lord, as we go through this painful pandemic, please provide our health researchers the light of success in fighting this enemy and finding cure for coronavirus. Please energize and inspire our doctors, nurses, and first responders to continue their services for the suffering of C-19 and other emergencies. O Lord, please guide our state and national leaders to transfer this testing time to a window of opportunity to promote national and international unity, humility, harmony, compassion, empathy, and solidarity. Protect our leaders from using disrespectful language and help them to win this virus war with honesty, truthfulness, faith, and trust. O Lord, help us to win also the pandemic of prejudice, pride, ignorance, and injustice, being in the form of shooting in Georgia or killing the newborn babies and their new mothers in maternity clinic in Kabul. O Lord, lead us to liberate our hearts from hate and racism. Liberate our families from fear and frustration. Liberate our streets from violence and intimidation. Liberate our country and the world from any kind of insanity and chaos. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, to be a national rising star, and for blessing her with great wisdom as she is overcoming the struggles of this tragic time with always peace and patience. Please protect her from any harm and evil and make Michigan a model for our nation and the world. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen.